Hi everyone. I am continuing reading now from Pistis, Sophia, and Coptic Gnostic text. Last time we were reading about the dragon of the outer darkness and how they hold the souls and where they hold the souls and how you can free yourself from being in the clutches of the outer darkness. I'll just read that last stanza from section 4, stanza 130. And when the archons hurl the souls out, immediately the angels of you, that's YEU, the first man, who watch the chambers of that region, seize the souls and bring them out before you, the first man, the commissioner of the first commandment. And here we start. And you, the first man, looks at the souls and tests them, and finds that they have completed their circuits, and that it is not lawful to bring them again into the world, cosmos. For it is not lawful to bring into the world the souls that have been cast into the outer darkness. The paralemptors of you keep them with them, and if they have not yet completed their number of circuits in the transformations of the body, until they pray for them the mystery of the ineffable and transfer them into a good body that will find the mysteries of the light and inherit the light kingdom. But if you test them and finds that they have completed their circuits and that returning them to the world is not allowed, and also that the sign of the ineffable is not found in them, then is you compassionate to them and brings them before the 7 virgins of light. They baptize them with their baptisms, but they do not give them the spiritual chrism, and they bring them into the treasury of the light, but they do not place them in the orders of the inheritance, because no sign and no seal of the ineffable is in them. So that's if you haven't received the mysteries, but you have completed your circuits, meaning the times and the numbers of incarnations that you're supposed to have and the things that you're supposed to learn. But they, the 7 virgins of light, deliver them, namely those who have completed their circuits but do not have a seal, from the chastisements, and place them into the light of the treasury, alone and apart by themselves, until the ascension of the all. And at that time, when the curtain of the treasury of light is drawn open, they, the 7 virgins of light, newly cleanse those souls and purify them thoroughly, and again give them mysteries, and place them in the last order of the treasury, and those souls will be delivered from all the chastisements of the judgments. After the Savior had said this, he said to his disciples, "Do you understand what I'm saying to you?" Mary answered, saying, "My Lord, this is the word you spoke to us before in a parable, saying, 'Make for yourselves friends out of the mammon of unrighteousness, so that if you remain behind, he may receive you into the everlasting dwelling places.'" Luke 16:9. Who is the mammon of unrighteousness, if not the dragon of the outer darkness? So this is very interesting. I find this very interesting. Just recently, the Doctor Strange movie, and the character that's Mammon or Mamoa or something very similar name, that describes a being that has many geometric figures. He's like moving past forward and this whole connection with time, and able to move through geometric shapes. I thought this was very interesting, this connection to Mammon and Mamoa, and I have a feeling they are of the same character, if not in fact the same being. This is the meaning. The one who understands the mystery of one of the names of the dragon of the outer darkness if he remains behind in the outer darkness, or if he has completed the circuits of the transformations, and he speaks the name of the dragon, he will be delivered up from the darkness and will be received into the treasury of the light. This is the word, my Lord. The Savior answered then, saying to Mary, Well spoken, you spiritual and pure one. This is the meaning of the word. (131) Again Mary continued, saying, My Lord, does the dragon of the outer darkness come into this world, or does he not? The Savior answered Mary, saying, When the light of the sun is around the world, it, the sun, hides the darkness of the dragon. But if the sun is under the world, then the darkness of the dragon is there as a curtain over the sun. And the breath of the darkness comes into the world in the form of smoke in the night. That is, when the sun's light is not radiating. For truly the world is not able to withstand the darkness of the dragon in its true form, without dissolving and disintegrating immediately. Wow. When the Savior had said this, Mary again came forward to say to the Savior, My Lord, I must still question you, and do not hold back from me. Now then, my Lord, who is it that coerces a man to be so he sins? Interesting question. The Savior answered Mary, saying, It is the archons of the harmony who coerce man until he sins. Mary spoke to the Savior, asking, My Lord, do the archons then come down to the world and coerce man so that he sins? The Savior answered Mary, saying, It is not that they come down into the world like this, but the archons of harmony, when an old soul who is ready to pass down through them, then the archons of that great harmony, who are in the regions of the head of the aeons, which is that region called the region of the kingdom of Adamas, and which is the region that faces the Virgin of Light, then the archons of that region of the head give to the soul a cup of forgetfulness from the seed of wickedness, filled with the various desires and amnesia, and immediately when that soul drinks from that cup, it forgets all the regions where it has been, and all the chastisements through which it has gone. And that cup of the water of forgetfulness takes on form inside the soul, and it imitates the soul in all its forms and resembles it. And this is what is called the counterfeiting spirit. So they basically trick you into forgetting. If, however, it is a new soul which has been taken out of the sweat of the archons, and out of the tears of their eyes, or more likely out of the breath of their mouths, if in fact it is one of the new souls, or it is one of such souls, if it is one of the from the sweat, then the 5 archons of the great harmony take the sweat of all the archons of their aeons, together kneading it and dividing it to make into a soul. Or more likely, if the soul is the residuum of the purification of the light, then Melchizedek carries it, the residuum, away from the archons. So you're understanding here the difference of the types of souls and from which they are made and what happens to them. The 5 great archons of the great harmony together knead the residuum, divide it, and make it into different souls, so that each and every one of the archons of the aeons places his own portion into the soul, and in this way they mix it together so that they have all their part in the soul. But that's not if you have a soul made from light. And the 5 great archons, when they divide it and make it into souls, bring it out of the sweat of the archons. However, if the soul is from the residuum of the purification of light, then Melchizedek, the great paralemptor of the light, takes it, the residuum, from the rulers, or even if the soul is from the tears of their eyes or from the breath of their mouth. In a word, from such souls, when the 5 archons divide it and make it into different souls, or even when it is an old soul, then the archon himself, who is in the head of the aeons, mixes the cup of forgetfulness with the seed of wickedness, mixing it into each new soul at the time when he is in the region of the head, the command structure. And that cup of forgetfulness becomes the counterfeiting spirit for that soul, and remains outside that soul, being a garment for it and resembling it in every way as a sheathing garment around it. Wow. So the cup of forgetfulness actually becomes a counterpart to you. And the 5 great archons of the great harmony of the aeons, and the archon of the sun disk and the archon of the moon disk, exhale into the inside of that soul, and there comes out of them a measure of my power, which the last helper has thrown into the mixture. And the measure of that power remains within the soul, unbound and existing on its own authority, for the managing to which it has been directed, which is to give perception to the soul, so that it may always seek the works of the light of the height. I would have explained it differently. And that power imitates the form of soul in every way and resembles it. It cannot be outside the soul, but remains inside it, as from the beginning. I have commanded it. When I willed that it be hurled into the first commandment, I gave it commandment to remain thus with the souls according to the managing of the first mystery. And I will tell you the words at the expansion of the all, regarding the power, and also regarding the soul, in which types they are created, or which archons creates them, and of the various kinds of souls. And I will tell you at the expansion of the all just how many create the souls. And I will tell you the names of all who create the soul, and I will speak to you of the type, how the counterfeiting spirit and the destiny are put together. And I will tell you the name of the soul before it is purified, and then its name once it is refined and purified. And I will tell you the name of the counterfeiting spirit, and I will tell you the name of the destiny. And I will tell you the name of all the bonds of which the archons bind the counterfeiting spirit to the soul. And I will tell you the name of all the deacons who establish the soul into the bodies of the soul in the world. And I will tell you how the souls are made, and I will tell you the type of each soul. And I will tell you the type of the souls of humans, and those of birds, of animals, and those of reptiles. And I will tell you the type of all souls, and of those of all the archons that are sent into the world, so that you may be filled in all knowledge. All this I will tell you at the expansion of the all, and after that I will tell you why all this has occurred. Now I must point out here that the expansion of the all is occurring now as we speak at the turning of the Mayan calendar. At least this is my belief. That is, of course, also right around the time that I received this book. And this is, of course, written 2018 years ago, according to our history. So the expansion of the all is we are moving into a new expanding phase, a new aeon, and a new long count. So this is why all this stuff is coming up now. So we can learn from that, so we can move into the next phase. Moving on here. Listen now, that I may speak to you about the soul in regard to what I have said. The 5 great archons of the great harmony of the aeons, and the archons of the sun disk, and the archons of the moon disk, exhale into that soul, and there comes out of them a measure of my power, as I have just said. And the measure of that power remains within the soul, so that the soul can carry on. And they place the counterfeiting spirit around the soul, so that it watches it and accompanies it, and those archons bind it to the soul with their seals and their bonds, and seal it to it, so that it may always coerce it, so that it will constantly give in to passions and lawless acts, so that it may forever serve and at all times remain under their dominion in the transformations of the body. And they seal it to it, that it may be found in all sin and all the desires of the world. So by creating this counterfeiting spirit, through forgetting who you were and all the great things that you've learned and understood, they put a copy of you and they bind it to you so that they can influence the copy, which then influences you to make you do things that you don't really want to do, but then you do them anyways, and then somehow you've sinned, which causes the darkness to come into your aura or your soul, which then causes the archons to be able to chastise you and stay with you and continue to have power over you. So basically, you're a puppet, and you just do what they want. It's called slavery. The only way to get out of that is by calling the inheritance, becoming part of the inheritance of light. Then you can override that and bypass that. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You just go straight to heaven or pleroma. It is because of this that I have thus brought into this cosmos the mysteries which unloose all the bonds of the counterfeiting spirit, and all the seals which are bound to the soul, those which set the soul free and release it from its parents, the archons, and make it into refined light and bring it into the kingdom of its Father, the first way, the first mystery, forever. It is for this reason that I said to you before, the one who does not abandon father and mother and come and follow after me is not deserving of me. So he's referring to the archons when he's saying that. At that time I said, you are to leave your parents, the archons, and that I may make you children in the first mystery forever. So family of light. 132. After the Savior had said this, Salome came forward, saying, My Lord, if our parents are the archons, why then it is written in the law of Moses, he who abandons his father and his mother, let him be put to death. Has the law not spoken so concerning this? When Salome had said this, the light power in Mary Magdalene welled up in her, and she said to the Savior, My Lord, give commandment to me, so that I may speak to my sister Salome and explain to her the solutions of the words she has spoken. It then occurred, when the Savior had heard Mary speak these words, that he praised her as greatly blessed. The Savior answered Mary, saying, I give you commandment, Mary, to speak the solution of the word which Salome has spoken. And when the Savior had said this, Mary turned toward Salome, gave her greeting, and said to her, My sister Salome, concerning the word which you have spoken, it is written in the law of Moses, he who abandons his father and his mother, let him be put to death. Now, my sister Salome, the law has not said this in regard to the soul, nor to the body, nor to the counterfeiting spirit, for they are all sons of the archons, and issue from them. But the law has said this regarding the power which has issued from the Savior, and which is written, which is within us today as the light man or light being. The law has also said, whoever remains outside the Savior and all his mysteries, his parents, he should not only be put to death, but perish utterly. So obviously not respecting or coming from the light power law. And when Mary had said this, Salome came to her and greeted her. Salome said, "This Savior has power to make me understand, as he has made you." It then occurred, when the Savior had heard Mary's words, that he praised her he was very greatly blessed. The Savior spoke then, saying to Mary in the midst of his disciples, "Hear now, Mary, who it is that coerces a person until he sins. Now then, the archons seal the counterfeiting spirit to the soul, so that it will not disturb it all the time when it makes it commit all sins and all lawlessness." And they further command the counterfeiting spirit, saying, "If the soul comes out of the body, disturb it not, for you are bound to it and must lead it into all the regions of the judgments, into each of the region according to all the sins which you made it commit, so that it may be chastised in all the regions of the judgments, and not be able to ascend to the light and return to the transformations of the body." So all of this is so the archons can control your light. That's what all of this is about. Why they made the counterfeiting spirit, why they give the cup full of forgetfulness, so they can control our light that is inherent within us. So to me, when I read those words, that's when I went, aha, moment. All of it makes sense now. Everything is made of light. Manifest, things that are manifest, material, all it is slowed down light. It's not light is a wave, or matter is particles. So it's really just slowed down light. So everything is really made from that. And the whole purpose to keeping us here is so that they can control us. At least that's what it was up until now. Now we're looking at utilizing that light for our own purposes. Like, why do these guys think that they have all the power? They don't. They were made by Yaldabaoth. All the archons were made by Yaldabaoth, who was, or is, Sophia's son. Actually, Sophia and Set's son. I'll go into that another time. But they stole Sophia's light to make the archons. The archons are all made from her light. And they made all the other things out of her light that they stole. So now it's all about taking back that light and reforming it and purifying it so that we can make what we want. So this is why I have gone to all this trouble to read this book to you, so that you people, so that we can have an understanding of the foundation and where we can go from there. We're still not finished yet, but we're coming to a close. And I'm going to stop this right now and take a break. I'll be back.